My name is John Sullivan, and I call myself a relationship or marriage coach. Coach because I think the words therapy and counseling are pretty heavy, like there's something wrong with a person. Whereas a coach, I've done lots of coaching, and typically there's nothing wrong with my players, but sometimes what they're doing is not working. And I believe the same is true of relationships. Yes, we're all a bit out of shape a bit, but typically there's nothing wrong with people, but often what they're doing, like I said, is not working. And I truly do believe the tools are available in today's world to have the relationship of your dreams. I truly believe that. And so last year I wrote this book, Dream Relationship, and it outlines a 3-step process to have the kind of relationship we all want. The first step, and it might sound simplistic, but I think it's the key to the whole deal, is safety. And I don't just mean physical safety, because of course that you have to have that, but I mean emotional safety. And in the book I have a picture of the human brain. We've all seen this or something similar. And so hopefully anybody who's watching, plus myself, we're using the cerebral cortex part of our brain, but we also have the limbic system, the beginning of the limbic system, and then the brain stem. And the brain stem is simply concerned with survival. And the thing is, we share it with all animals. All mammals, reptiles, fish, snakes, birds have a brain stem. It goes back 500 million years. You're not going to change it. So I just want you to think about that. I believe your old brain, my old brain, is just as operative in you and me as is in that rat in the dumpster out there. If there's danger, we'll defend. 500 million years. You're not going to change that. So my job in the office is simply to get two people to talk to each other in a safe way. And I can do that. But you cannot attack or withdraw. Because think about it from how relationships are often depicted in our culture. Movies, TV, those magazines at the checkout counter, but in real life. But think about it from your old brain point of view. If you attack me or yell at me or don't talk or shut down or make fun of me, what am I going to do except defend myself? You see it everywhere. And all I'm saying doesn't work. After 30 years, I know that. So that's the first step. It's key, the safety. Now, I'm a coach, and all sports use systems and teach skills. I use hockey in the book. And if those of you who know hockey at all, typically there's a system to get the puck out of your end or to kill penalties or whatever. And I tell couples, if you're in a relationship, you're already part of a system. Our culture accepts two people living together with or without children. It could be a gay marriage, straight, lesbian, common law, arranged marriage, it doesn't matter. We accept that. But for me, if 40% of those marriages end in divorce, there's something flawed with the system. So the system I teach is Imago Relationship Therapy. Imago Therapy was developed by a man called Harville Hendricks and his wife, Helen LaKelly Hunt, back in the late 70s, early 80s. He wrote the book, Getting the Love You Want, a guide for couples, in 1988. And then he republished it, a 20th anniversary edition, in 2008. And then just last year came out with a third edition, the 30th anniversary edition. So it's not just me. He sold over 4 million copies of the book, and he's trained about 2,500 of us around the world doing this work. Actually, it's in 53 countries now. I was the first international guy he trained. I'm in Canada, he was in the States, but now it's in 53 countries. So Imago Therapy, he's looking at the statistics on divorce. And he was devastated. So what's going on? Like, nobody sets out to end up divorced, but statistically that's what can happen, 40%. So Imago Therapy, Imago is simply, it's a Latin word for image. And what he's saying is that from our family of origin, where we grew up, we have thousands of hours of watching our parents interact. And he says what seems to happen is we form this unconscious image of the person who make us whole, but it's made of the positive and negative of our parents, whoever raised us. And to me, it just makes sense. You cannot live with somebody for 18 years and not be influenced by them. But I think where Harville's intuitive leap in our understanding of relationships is that this imago, this imprint of our parents, our caretakers, is very close to the surface when we look for a partner. Now, there's two questions I can ask you. The first one you don't have to answer, but the second one you can. Because I ask couples, like, why are the two of you together? You know, I'm sure you probably met other guys and you probably met other girls, so why you two? It's not a bad question, is it? The other question is, Can you remember when you first met each other? Most people can. I can't remember what I did yesterday, but I can remember 50 years ago when I met my wife. So what's going on? And my belief is that we recognize something that's familiar unconsciously, because in romantic love, it's the positives. This person's going to meet all my needs, romantic love. And it feels great. But eventually, we end up in that these kick in, the negatives, and we end up in a power struggle. And the power struggle tends to be, I'm right, you're wrong. And if 40% of marriages end in divorce, then there's something flawed with the system. Okay? There's more to it, but that's the basics. So the second thing then, real quick, is, let me just have a go at this. Okay. If you think of when you were a child, okay, and I have a 3-year-old granddaughter, so I can visualize this very well. She has all this energy. And then she's learning how, as we all did, learn how to think and feel and act or move and sense, which we all did. Now, would you agree that as parents, we don't meet all of our children's needs all the time? This is not about blaming parents, it's just we haven't figured it out yet. So I'll use myself as an example. I'm oversimplifying, but the most damage for me was probably here in the feeling function. My dad died when I was 5. It's during the war. I'm sent to a military boarding school. I'm 5 years old, a dormitory of 40 kids. Where do you show your little hurts to? You don't. You step on line, you get smacked. I got smacked a lot, but I shut that down a long time ago. Now, my wife obviously has the same functions. Okay, she can think and feel and act and sense. Now, here's where I want to ask you to go with me a bit, because I believe that you watching, me here, we're part of something much bigger. There's a bigger universe out there. And you can call it God or nature or consciousness or the universe, whatever. But there's something bigger than us. And there seems to be something about nature that wants wholeness. It wants to be complete. So I get cut, it starts to heal. The dog gets hurt, it crawls on the porch, tries to heal. We screw up the ozone layer. There's something about nature that wants wholeness. And if that's true, and I believe it is, now, if this is where the most damage was for me in the feeling function, and if nature or God or the universe is trying to repair that, who would you guess I'd be attracted to? Someone whose feeling side is more developed or less developed? And most people would say more. It's certainly what happened to us, and certainly what I see in the office all the time. So again, watch though. At a certain point, it became very clear. I didn't have the experience or the tools or the equipment to deal with her very legitimate feeling needs. She says, give me feelings, and I'm saying I can't. Not that I would say it, but I just couldn't do it. But if I can become more aware, more conscious, and as I stretch to meet her needs in this area, I really am healing myself. I like it because it's not about blaming my wife, because I wouldn't have been attracted to anyone except like her, and we really have the blueprint for each other's growth, but we have to be aware, we have to be conscious. So the metaphor I use is, metaphorically, I come out of childhood, this hand doesn't work, I can't stand up straight. Who do I marry? Someone who wants this hand to work and me to stand up straight. She says, give me feelings, I'm saying I can't. But as I stretch to give her what she wants, I really am healing myself. Okay? So, going back to the system, I tell couples, I say, look, you're going to be with someone probably who is going to activate some old stuff. You're probably strong in an area where the other's weak, and for sure you have those reactive old brains. So get ready, it's coming at you. But thinking about it from a coaching point of view, if I know next week we're playing against a team that uses a certain offense or defense, we'll practice against it. We know it's coming. So I tell my couples is, get ready, this is coming at you. So you're going to need some skills. And again, going back to hockey, whether you're 5 or you're in the NHL, you need to learn how to pass and skate and check and shoot. There's not 100 skills, but there's 4 pretty key ones. And the same, I believe, in relationships. If you can learn these 4 skills, much better chance to have the kind of relationship you all want. Okay? The first one is the key. You have to learn to talk to each other in a safe way about anything. Okay? Because of that old brain, it has to be safe. So what we use as imago therapists is a very structured approach, but this structure ensures safety. It takes things out of the power struggle and just lets people talk to each other. It's not new with Hendricks, been around for a long time, but it works. I tell couples, I say, if you can figure out something else, use that. But I know this works. So the first step would be, suppose you were going to talk to me. Before I could answer you, I need to mirror back what I heard you say to your satisfaction. Okay, so the first step is simply to mirror. Because again, especially if there's a charge on something, I might only hear 50, 60, even 70% of what you say, which is a distortion. And then if you hear 70% of that, that's a distortion of a distortion, and pretty soon it's chaos. So it slows things down, but it works. It makes sure that I hear you. The second step is then to validate that it makes sense, that that's how you would see it, or that's what you say. I don't have to agree with you, but you're not crazy, okay? And then the third step is the empathy, which is a guess at the feelings. I might say, well, you were angry, and you might say, I wasn't angry, but I was hurt, or I was sad, or I was disappointed. And then we switch, and it's my turn. And if I can keep two people doing that, if they can really hear each other and validate it makes sense, they'll figure things out. 30 years. If I can keep people in the process, they'll sort things out. And what I like about it, it's not like a cookie cutter. What might work for you might not work for my wife and I, but if we keep talking, we'll figure out what'll work for us. Okay, so that's the key. That's the first skill. Second skill, now think of this from your old brain point of view. We're going to say in a conscious relationship, anything negative by appointment only. Anything negative by appointment only. Sometimes people look at me like I'm a bit, crazy, but what does that look like? I say, look, when I go home tonight, just hang out. No arrows coming, not going to get zinged. 30 years, pretty nice. Because think about it. If I don't know when the arrow's coming, when I'm going to be attacked, I'll defend myself. I'll have my armor on. Hard to be intimate when you're both clanking around the same house with armor on. Okay? So the second thing is if there's anything negative, just make an appointment. I'm not asking you to do anything I don't do with my wife. If there's something that comes up that we need to talk about, let's go for a coffee. We have the same skill you do. The third one, and this is the one I think couples are having the most problems with. We're going to say in a conscious relationship, remove all negativity. No blame, shame, or criticism. I don't like to be blamed or criticized. If I don't know when that stuff is coming, I'll protect myself. I'll get a wall up. So I ask people to think about the space between them as sacred space, holy ground. No negativity in there. There's enough negativity out there, you don't need any in there. And I first thought that when people, if they've been married for 5 or 10 years, they probably build up some bad habits, and they probably have. But I think now it goes back farther. I think it goes back to those first 18 years. Because a lot of us did grow up in homes where there was negativity or criticism. And I think our culture is pretty negative and critical. And so we just assume that's normal, and we bring it into the relationship, and then it doesn't work. All right? Now, the caveat here, of course, is it's the person on the receiving end who determines whether it's negative or not. I could just say, well, I was just kidding, but if it hurts you, I need to stop. I don't want to hurt my wife the way she was as a kid or any other way. So if I do something, say something, act in a certain way that's not helpful, I need to change. Anyway, that's the one I think couples are struggling with the most. The fourth one then is, if you remove all negativity, there's a bit of a vacuum, and we would say to really amplify the positives. I appreciate each other, thank each other, you did a great job, and to say that stuff out loud. Because again, from an old brain point of view, if I'm constantly hearing, hey, thanks a lot, I appreciate that, you did a great job, my old brain can relax. This is not the enemy over there, this is my ally. We're in this together. So it's not rocket science, okay? The key for me is safety. Then the system that you're part of is, I believe, the imago system, that you're going to be with somebody who activates some old stuff. You're probably strong there where the other's weak, and for sure you have those reactive old brains. So 4 key skills. One is you have to learn to talk to each other in a safe way. Just make an appointment for anything negative. Don't attack your partner. And then remove the negativity. No blame, shame, or criticism. And then really amplify the positives. And you're much farther ahead on the way to have the kind of relationship you all want. So there, on my website, you can buy the book, Dream Relationship. It's, my website is John Sullivan Counseling. And if to make an appointment, 519-966-1408. Thanks for watching. And for those of you, if there's no charge for the first session. I want to get people in, get a sense of what brings them there. They'll get a sense of me, what it's going to look like, and then they get a sense of the process. And then they go home and you decide if you think it'd be helpful, great. If not, I gave it my best shot. Cheers.